بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة لوجهه الكريم. I want to give you a statement of the scholars. Let me see if I can find it. The scholars, they say, seeking knowledge is difficult. Seeking knowledge is difficult. I'll bring the screen back on in a minute. Seeking knowledge is difficult. Talib al-ilm shadid. Seeking knowledge is difficult. Seeking knowledge is difficult. Memorizing it is more difficult than seeking it. And acting according to it is more difficult than seeking it and memorizing it. So I repeat, seeking knowledge is difficult. Memorizing it is more difficult than seeking it. And acting according to it is more difficult than seeking and memorizing it. So there's stages. There are stages. The first stage is we have to seek knowledge. We have to learn. We have to acquire knowledge. Right? It's extremely important. The second thing, once we seek it, we have to preserve it. We have to memorize. We have to put it in our minds. Right? In order to memorize it, you have to review and repeat, right? Till it becomes ingrained. You have to review and repeat, right? Review, repeat, review, repeat, review, repeat. Anything you do over and over and over and over again, it will become a part of you, right? You can't do it one time and it just sticks, especially with all the other things that we have going on in our lives that are distractions, that destroy memories, right? That preoccupy the mind. We have a lot of things. They're all different between, we got work, we got, hobbies, we got family life, we got community life, we got all that stuff. All of that preoccupations take away from your retention of information, because you constantly got new things, different issues coming in your mind. So you have to keep repeating, so it sticks, right? And every time you repeat, it will bring, number one, the same information will come back. And number two, things that you didn't get the first time start to appear to you the second or the third or the fourth or the fifth reading. And no matter how many times you go over something, you're going to get something new, right? A new shade of what you learn is going to be exposed to you. That's the way the brain works. You start to see different things. So you have to repeat. You have to go over it. One time, one of our teachers, he told us that his teacher gave one of his students a book. He said, take this to my son and tell him, I said, read this 10 times. And when he finished it, tell him to read it again. So his instruction said, read this 10 times. And when he finishes it, tell him to read it again. This will help you. This will help you. This will help you actually get better. And in addition to that, cut down your distractions. That's a whole nother, that is an entire different discussion, but it will also help you if you cut down on your distractions, right? Keep your distractions to the minimum by prioritizing your necessities. What do you have to do? And start, as a student of seeker of knowledge, start leaning more to seeking knowledge than you lean to unnecessary distractions. Right? So that's in terms of memorization. Then what will also help memorization, which is the most difficult of all, is practicing what you learn, which is hard. Because to practice, you have to overcome a lot of obstacles. And I'll give you 4 difficult obstacles that you need to overcome to keep practicing. Y'all ready? 4 difficult obstacles. They're hard, very hard. It may take you a lifetime to overcome them. But you must realize what they are so you can start working on it. Even if it's once in a blue moon, you start working. Number 1, the creation. Al-Khalq, the creation. That's an obstacle that's going to prevent you from practicing. So our teachers, they said about that, start to stop paying attention to creation. Stop paying attention to them. Stop turning your attention to them. They will take you away from Allah. Stop paying so much attention to creation. It is a distraction. It will distract you. It will happen. Don't care who you are. It will distract you. It will become an obstacle for you arriving where you need to be in your practice. That's a warning from the scholars. Stop paying so much attention to the creation. They will be a veil for you. It will start to affect you in your practice. You'll get distracted. That's number 1. Number 2, ad-dunya, the world. The more you occupy with the things of the world, they will serve as a distraction. The more you have, the more you'll be distracted from practice. So cut down. Cut down, cut down, cut down, cut down. As much as you can, cut down. Sheikh Samir said to us one time, someone drew a picture of the house of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he looked at this picture. He said, "This is not the house of the Prophet." He said, "That's not the house of the Prophet." He said, what this person did was he read hadith and the seerah, and he saw everything that he read that was in the Prophet's house, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he made a picture. What he failed to realize is that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam never had those things at one time. He had this, then he gave that away. Then he had that, and he gave that away. So his house was really always empty or had few items. He didn't collect things. So his house never looked like that. And I thought about that. I was like, man, that's deep. Because the Prophet ﷺ wasn't occupied with the things of this world, because they are a distraction. And they will imprison the person. Hence, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Ad-dunya sijnul mu'min," that the dunya, this world, is a prison for the believer. It will imprison you, right? You'll be trapped. And it's a block from practicing. So that's number 2. Number 3, ash-shaytan. Ash-shaytan. The shaitan will prevent you from practicing. Shaitan will whisper to you. Shaitan will adorn to you things that's going to harm you. Right? So we must all the time be aware when Shaitan is working, because he's always working. He's busy. And he has allies to help. If you're not conscious, even for a slight moment, he'll get you. It only takes a moment. One moment of distraction, boom, he got you. No matter who you are, right? To give you, when I say no matter who you are, even if you're a Sahaba, not us, but the Sahaba were tempted by Shaitan. Even the awliya, the great awliya, were tempted by Shaitan. So what do we expect for us? Shaitan will play with us like a kid plays with a ball all the time, while we are not aware of that and get distracted from our deeds. We fall short just from Shaitan. The 4th thing, which is the most difficult, is your own nafs. The most difficult. The nafs is the most dangerous of all your enemies and the most difficult to surmount of all your obstacles. Put that there, please. The nafs is your most dangerous enemy and the most difficult obstacle to surmount. We must wage war and struggle against our nafs. And it's difficult. Especially when you have the combination of Shaitan's whispers and the inflaming of your nafs. When they're combined, explosion. Forget about it. And then what's going to be the result of that? We're going to lack in our practice. That's why he said it's more difficult than seeking and memorizing knowledge, practicing it, because you have all these obstacles that you got to overcome with. They're difficult. It's not light. It's not something that's easy. And that's what Allah mentioned about it, that the nafs, it is inclined to evil. It's a struggle. So keep these things in mind when you're looking at trying to practice. It's not easy, right? It's not easy at all. And Imam al-Ghazali mentioned about those things, those obstacles, because that's the final end. Then you can do da'wah, right? But I'm talking about your personal self, relate to you, seeking knowledge, memorizing knowledge, and practicing. That's for you, right? Those obstacles are there. All of those are obstacles. So be aware. So maybe we're distracted so much. The nafs can be lazy. That's why we don't memorize. So that's an obstacle. Or I didn't memorize. I wasn't doing anything. I was just being lazy. That's the nafs. Will incline to laziness, right? Doesn't endeavor. This is a lesson that needs to be repeated over and over and over and over again. Over this lesson, over and over and over and over again, till it settles in our mind. We're conscious of it all the time, and then we see it when it's coming. Right? That's the struggle. But jahid to shahid. And let me read something to you quickly before we go to that. Can you go to page 798 real quick? Page 798, T 1.5. I want to show you how difficult this is. You got it?
Yes, I have it.
Abu Yazid, Imam al-Nawawi, in his Majmu'ah, or Bustan al-Arifin, which is a Sufi book by Imam al-Nawawi. For those who didn't know Imam al-Nawawi was a Sufi, this is his book, Bustan al-Arifin, which relates to Tasawwuf. And he's talking about Abu Yazid al-Bustami, who was one of the great early Sufis. Listen to what he says. Go ahead. Bismillah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulullah. The author, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy on him, said, Nawawi, Abu Yazid, Allah Ta'ala Most High be well pleased with him, said, For 12 years I was the blacksmith of my soul.
Right? He said, I was Haddadun Nafsi. Haddad, Imam al-Haddad, remember? The blacksmith of my nafs. Right? What does that do? The blacksmith refines metals, right? Burns them, shapes them, right? Works on it. Go ahead.
For 5, the mirror of my heart. For 1 year I observed what was between them, and lo, around my waist I found the girdle of unbelief, Zunar, in plain view.
So here we got what? 12, 5, 1. 18 years of hard work on my nafs, watching my heart. 18 years. Go ahead.
So I worked for 5 years at cutting it, seeking a way to dissever it, until at length this was revealed to me, and looking at mankind, I saw them dead. I saw them as dead, and prayed a fourfold Allahu Akbar over them.
Now, after 18 years, I saw that I was still struggling. Around my waist, I had a girdle that used to put on non-Muslims who were in the Muslim state, they used to wear this to identify them. He said, even after all this spiritual work, I still saw, in other words, translation, I was still a mess. 18 years of hard work. And I looked, I'm still a mess. So then I took 5 more years of trying to get rid of that. And after 5 more years, I looked at all of the creation. Remember we said that first enemy, that obstacle is the creation. He said, I looked at them and I saw them as dead, right? And I made 4 takbirat over them. 4 takbirat. 4 takbirat. They're dead. And that's 23 years of working. And this is talking about a master. We're not talking about us. This is a master of the spiritual sciences. One of the leading people of the knowers of Allah. He said 23 years of working, right? To get to that state. Go ahead, read the commentary on that, Imam Nawawi.
Sufficient to show the subtlety of the hiddenness of ostentation is the difficulty with which this master recognized it, who had few equals in his path. As for his remark, I saw them as dead, it is of the greatest worth and excellence. Words that express this meaning seldom being met with outside those of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah Ta'ala bless him and give him peace. What it signifies is that when he underwent this spiritual struggle and his lower self became trained and his heart enlightened, when he had mastered the self, subdued it, taken full possession of it, and made it submit in everything, he looked at all creatures and found them as if dead, without discoverable trait.
Here's the important point. In order for him to take control of his nafs, his lower self, and have management of his heart, he had to realize that creation is a big obstacle, right? It's a big obstacle. And until he rid himself of that, he was not going to ever be able to travel to Allah properly, right? He found as if the way you're paying attention to them, that you're worshiping them. Not literally, but in meaning. And he had to overcome that. Now,
they could not harm or benefit, bestow or keep back, give life or death, join or separate, bring close or make far, save or damn, give sustenance or withhold it. They possessed neither benefit nor harm to themselves, neither life nor death nor resurrection. Now the dead are dealt with, regarding these things as deceased, they are not feared, nor are hopes placed in them, nor does desire arise from what they have. We do not do anything for their sake, refrain from anything for their sake, or forego any act of obedience to Allah Ta'ala for their sake, any more than we would to win the praise of the dead. They are not shown off in front of, their favor is not sought through flattery or compromise of principles, and they do not occupy one's attention. They are not held in contempt or disparaged, their defects are unmentioned, their shameful points unsought out, their mistakes uncriticized. Though penalties.
Now, let's look at us and let's pay attention how he deals with the creation. Pay attention how he deals with the creation. Pay attention. Let's go back. Now the dead, and he's talking about he saw the creation as dead. Let's look at that. Go ahead.
Now the dead are dealt with. Regarding these things as deceased, they are not feared, nor are hopes placed in them, nor does desires arise for what they have.
They have no paying attention to creation. They like that. None of us look at dead people and really worry about what they think or how they feel. We work as if they're non-existent. Now, go ahead.
We do not do anything for their sake, refrain from anything for their sake, or forego any act of obedience to Allah Ta'ala for their sake.
Listen, le- doing something, leaving it off, they have no importance, right? Leave it off, they have no importance. Performing, they have no importance. We have to get to this level. This will help us practice. Go ahead.
Any more than we would to win the praise of the dead. They are not shown off in front of, their favor is not sought through flattery or compromise of principles, and they do not occupy one's attention. They are not held in contempt or disparaged. Their defects are unmentioned, their shameful points unsought out, their mistakes uncriticized.
Now, look, to go to extent, their defects are unmentioned. Who cares, right? Their shameful points not sought out. I'm not looking for to see how bad you are. And their mistakes are uncriticized. May Allah forgive them. May Allah overlook them. May Allah help them. Because your focus is not them. Your focus is Allah and working on yourself. Now,
Though, if penalties prescribed by sacred law are incurred, we enforce them. In short, they are as though non existent in everything we have mentioned, the decisions of Allah Ta'ala Most High holding sway over them. Whoever deals with them accordingly has attained to the good of this world and the next. May Allah Ta'ala Most Generous give us success in realizing it.
you see the reality of the Sufism of Imam Nawawi. This is how they were. And even if we don't reach their level, we should try to the best of our ability to start emulating some of that. It's going to be stages, right? And our time is much more difficult than their time. Our time, in terms of distraction, is much more difficult, right? But we need to know that the journey and the struggle is the same. It's still the same struggle. May Allah make it easy for us. Tayyib. So we'll continue this last portion in our belief in Allah before we go to tomorrow. We start in our book. So we'll read this last section that Imam Haddad about Allah. We won't go into the messenger. We'll read it last. So we reached up to page 818, 818. Go ahead.
His life and almighty power. He Most High is living, almighty, overmastering, triumphant, unaffected by inability or weakness, unsusceptible to drowsiness, sleep, annihilation, or death, possessed of absolute sovereignty and might, of irresistible power and force. His is the majesty and sway, the creation and command. The heavens are enfolded in his right yad, and all beings are powerless to his grasp. He alone creates, begins, gives existence, and originates. He creates all beings in their acts, ordains their sustenance and terms. Nothing possible is out of his grasp. The disposal of no matter is beyond his power. The number of things he can do is limitless. The amount he knows is infinite. His knowledge. He knows all. He knows all things knowable, encompassing all that takes place from the depths of the earth to the highest heaven. He knows without an atom's weight in the earth or heavens escaping his knowledge. Excuse me. He knows the creeping of a black ant across a great stone on a lightless night, and the motion in the air of a particle of dust on a windy day. He knows the concealed and yet more hidden, the buried recesses of hearts, the movement of thought, and the opacities of the inmost soul, the pre-eternal, the beginningless knowledge that he has always possessed from the limitless reaches of past eternity, not with awareness originating within him through being imparted or conveyed. His will. He Most High wills all that exists and directs all events. Nothing occurs in the physical or spiritual world, be it meager or much, little or great, good or evil, of benefit or detriment, faith or unbelief, knowledge or ignorance, triumph or ruin, increase or decrease, obedience or sin, save through his ordinance, apportionment, wisdom, and decision. What he wills is, and what he does not will is not. Neither sidelong glance nor passing thought is beyond his design. He originates all and returns it, does what he wills, and none can repulse his command. There is no rescinding his destiny, no flight for a servant from disobeying him, except through divinely given success therein and mercy, and no strength to obey him, save through his choice and decree. If all mankind, jinn, angels, and devils, combine their efforts to move or to steal a single particle of the universe without his will and choice, they would be unable to. His will, like his other attributes, exists in his entity, and he ever possesses it. He has willed from eternity the existence of all things at the times he has chosen. They occur at the times which he has destined from beginningless eternity, occurring neither before nor after, but taking place in accordance with his knowledge and will, without substitution or alteration. He directs events without successive thoughts or waiting for time to elapse, which is why nothing diverts him from anything else.
Here, what an important thing that you should understand about the will of Allah, it is eternal without a beginning. Allah's will does not occur. Creation events occur according to the eternal will of Allah. Now,
Hearing and sight. He Most High is all hearing and all seeing. He hears and sees. No sound, however slight, eluding his hearing, and no sight, however minute, escaping his vision. Distance does not obscure his hearing, nor darkness hinder his vision. He sees without pupil or eyelids, and hears without ear canals or ears, just as he knows without a heart, seizes without limb, and creates without implement. His attributes no more resemble the attributes of his creatures than his entity resembles the entity of his creatures. His speech. He Most High speaks, commands, forbids, promises, and warns, with beginninglessly eternal speech that is an attribute of his entity, not resembling the speech of creatures in being a sound generated by the passage of air or impact of bodies, nor in letters articulated by compressing the lips or moving the tongue.
so the speech of Allah is not harf or sound. It's not letters or sounds, right? That which we hear from the Quran and the revealed scriptures are expression of the eternal attribute of Allah. So they are in letters and they are articulated with voices as an expression of the eternal attribute of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. We're on page 820 now.
The Quran, Torah, Evangel, and Psalms are his books, revealed to his messengers, upon whom be peace. The Quran is recited with tongues, written in books, and memorized in hearts, despite being beginninglessly eternal, an attribute of the entity of Allah Ta'ala Most High, unsubject to disseverance and separation by conveyance to hearts on pages. Moses, Allah Ta'ala bless him and give him peace, heard the speech of Allah Ta'ala without sound or letter, just as the
Hear
righteous.
that? He said, Musa sami'a kalam Allah bighayri sawtin wala harf. Allah, Musa heard the speech of Allah, which is not letters and sounds or voice. Allah's speech is not like the speech of the creation. Now,
Just as the righteous see the entity of Allah Ta'ala Most High in the afterlife without substance or accident.
meaning Allah's essence, his self, should we say, when we say essence, but we mean the self of Allah, which does not resemble anything else. That's what is understood, right? So Allah's self is not a body or a particle or an attribute of Bakar. It's not a jism, it's not a johar, it's not an arad. Now, but Allah will be seen.
Since Allah Ta'ala possesses all of the above attributes, He is living, knowing, omnipotent, willing, hearing, seeing, and speaking by virtue of His life, power, knowledge, will, hearing, sight, and speech, not merely by virtue of His entity.
Allah. These are attributes of Allah, as well as Allah has as self, He has attributes.
His acts. Everything besides Him, glorious and exalted, exists through His action, proceeding from his justice is in the best, fullest, most perfect, and equitable way. He is wise in his acts and just in his decrees. His justice is not comparable to the justice of his servants, since injustice may only be imagined from a servant through his disposal of what belongs to another, while this is inconceivable from Allah Ta'ala Most High, since nothing belongs to anyone besides him that he should unjustly dispose of it. Everything besides him, be it human, jinn, angel, devil, heaven, earth, animal, vegetable, mineral, substance, accident, intelligible, or sensory, is contingent and was brought into existence through his power after not being, created by him after it was nothing. He alone existed in pre eternity, and nothing else. He then originated creation, and his omnipotence might be manifest, his prior decree effected, and his eternal word realized, not from needing or requiring anything in creation. Our origination, beginning, and responsibility are of Allah Ta'ala's generosity, not because of their being obligatory from him, for him, and his blessings and benefaction exist because of his favor, not because of being due from him. Everything that exists is indebted to him for his generosity and goodness, his blessings and benevolence, for he is well able to pour all manner of torments upon his servants and try them with every variety of suffering and illness. And were he to do so, it would be just on his part and not wicked or unfair. He, mighty and majestic, rewards his servants, the believers, for their acts of obedience because of his generosity and in fulfillment of his word, not because of their deserving it or his owing it to them. He is not obliged to anyone to do anything, nor is injustice on his part conceivable, for he does not owe any rights
Here,
to
I want
anyone.
you to keep something in our minds. Allah is not obligated to anyone to do anything. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala does not owe his creation anything. So one of our problems as human beings, we think we deserve something. You don't. Everything Allah gives you is from his generosity. He doesn't owe you anything. You are the creation. He does with you whatever he wills. The real believer must surrender to that. This is not a competition. He's the Lord, you're the servant. He commands, you are commanded. He prohibits, you are prohibited. You have no choice in this matter. Is this clear for everyone? I know in theory you know this. I'm talking about realization, which leads to a certain action. Allah don't owe you nothing. And he's not unjust no matter what he does to you. You don't have no rights with Allah. And even the rights that he give you are his giving them to you, not that you deserve them. He gave you those. You don't deserve anything. Out of his generosity, he gave you that. It's not yours to claim. This is the essence of shirk. When we start to claim, I deserve something. No, you don't. You don't. Nothing. If he wiped you from the face of the earth, that is good. He don't owe you nothing. The ni'mah of existence is due to his generosity to you. That's why you exist. And the ni'mah of his assistance is from his generosity. That's why you assist. That's why you're assisted. The ni'mah of his provisions for you is from him, not because you deserve it. The ni'mah of good health is from him, not because you deserve it. When we stop contending with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his dominion, we'll be better off and we'll be better servants. When we stop contending with Allah in his dominion, this is serious, right? It's not you. It doesn't belong to you. And we need to realize that. When we realize that, you'll overcome a lot of your shortcomings. All of us. When we realize that, we'll overcome a lot of our shortcomings. Now,
the obligation of men and jinn to perform acts of obedience is established by his having informed them of it upon the tongues of the prophets, upon whom be peace, and not by unaided human reason. He sent the prophets and manifested the truth of their messages by unmistakable, unimitable miracles.
and these miracles, we understand the truthfulness of the prophets, or we know the truthfulness of the prophets by reason. So reason is not the basis of sacred law, but through reason, we know the validity of messages which affirm the sacred law. So there is a purpose of having al-aql, reason, intellect. Now,
they have communicated his commands, prohibitions, promises, and warnings, and it is obligatory for mankind and jinn to believe in what they have conveyed.
نعم صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So tomorrow we will be starting a new book, and everyone has a role. Everyone has a role in a da'wah. Among the most, because I can do a lot. Like myself, I don't have the capacity, nor the ability, nor the skill set to do a lot of things. I would love to, but I just don't have the ability, right? Whether it's because I don't have the skill set or the qualification, or because I don't have the time. In any case, I can't do it, right? Whatever's the cause. So I think of the things I can do, what is the priority for me that I can contribute to the work of moving the ball down the field or moving the ball down the court, to use a sports analogy, is to teach you and help you learn the correct creed. If I say, okay, you can do some things, which one you could do the best? I could do this one, right? So my focus, Amin Muhammad, is to make sure you have the correct creed and to dispel all the confusion to the best of my ability that exists in our midst to prevent you from having the correct creed, right? To prevent you from having the correct creed, right? So now that I have more help, alhamdulillah, Shaykhuna Abdul Aziz has returned and he's now at Masjid Muhammad regularly. I have a lot of help. So I'm going to push off some things to him. Inshallah, we have Sheikh Yahya who has joined us. I'm going to push off some things in him. Sheikh Walid, I'll push some things off on him. Some others will be coming. I'll push some things off on them. And my concentration is going to be going into details of explaining the creed of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, to make sure every single one of us are firm, well-informed about the issues of the creed. That's a lifetime journey in and of itself, because there's levels, right? There's the basic level, we'll learn. Then there's details, evidences, proofs, refutations, all of that I'm going to cover. And I'm going to use all the resources at my disposal, right? I'm not going to be in no one's box. I'm going to use well-known resources, resources that are not well-known, and other resources, I'm going to get the job done, right? And I'm going to spend most of my energy in doing it to my abilities. But those who follow me will learn more about the creed of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah than you've ever heard in your life. I promise you that. That I can guarantee you. Inshallah, if Allah gives me life and gives me the ability to teach what I know, what I have learned, what I've experienced, and now that I can just concentrate on that and I can leave other things to other people, you'll be able to answer in the creed very well, right? So I want to have everyone working in an area. You do that, I'll do this. Division of labor, like we have in our traditional classical methodology of learning. Right? Division of labor is very important. That's why we have fields of Aqidah, fields of fiqh, in a field of study of Aqidah, field of study of fiqh, field of study of tasawwuf, field of study of Quran, tafsir of Quran, hadith, sciences of hadith, Arabic language, seerah. All these are different disciplines. And if you're trying to do all of them, you're not going to do them well. Right? Division of labor, like division of Tawheed. But to do it well, everyone needs to be where they are at. And please, I'll put this up too. We need your help. I'm trying to do a lot, right? Please, please, Leslie, put the donation information up. Listen, I had a deep talk yesterday with one of the imams, right? I have a group of imams that I work with all over the country, right? You don't know, you might not even know we work together, right? Right? You might not even know we work together, right? And one of the biggest problems we have as a people, African Americans, our leadership, I'm telling you, because a lot of times we can't tell you, I'm telling you, we can't do the work we want to do without finances. It's almost impossible. We need your support. It's essential for us to do the work we have to do. This work is a full-time job. It is weighty. It kills our families. It causes divorces. It causes stress. No, seriously. Because we as imams, we give ourselves to the people and we leave very few left for anything else. And we're stuck between service and non-service. And you heard Dr. Ray talk about an imam. He's the janitor, he's the plumber, he's the imam, he's the business administrator. He has to do everything. Because part of us, we don't like to follow. That's our deficiency as a people. We don't want nobody telling us what to do. And when no one can tell us what to do, it's hard for us to jointly move together. It's very difficult. It's very difficult for an imam to just turn his back and say they got it, because people don't listen. They'll do what they want, not what needs to be done, right? So one of the ways you assist your leadership, and I want that responsibility to make a endowment. Y'all ever heard the term waqf? Give me a few seconds. This is very important. Listen to this. It's very important. Please follow me. I have a mission that I want to do. Others, and I ask others to do it with their people. I'm talking to my people who follow me, who support me, who listen to me, who consider me their teacher. I need you to do me a favor. And it is for me to do the work I'm trying to do. I want to establish a religious endowment just for religious teachers. Just for the teachers, right? That this money is put aside just to support them in doing their work, right? They need to be funded so that they could dedicate their lives just to teaching the religion. We need it. In the Islamic countries, there is waqf, religious endowment. And they take care of the masjids, they take care of the imams, the scholars, the schools. They have that in Islamic countries. Every Islamic country has a ministry of religious affairs. And they fall under awqaf, under endowments, right? But the money is specifically for that. Can't be used for nothing else. It's only to take care of the teachers and their institutions and what needs to be done. It's solely for that, right? We need to establish that. I'm talking about us, for what we're doing, or we're not going to be successful. Since we're not a government, as Imam Fahim put, we the people have to be the waqf. Harvard, Yale, Princeton, any big institution, some of you are educated, they have endowment funds. Their people who graduate, alumni, they send hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars back to that institution they graduated from so that it can be done. On there, you can make the donation, and all you got to put waqf, teachers fund. That's it. You could just put endowment. And we're going to make a separate page for that because it needs to be done. I talked to an imam. I was trying to get him to do some stuff, and he's down. But right now, he's in fundraising mode, and he's a good teacher. But man, I got to get some money, man. We're dying here, right? And I understand that. He's working, trying to do what he got to do. He got his family, and it's a mess. It's hard. So I'm not supported, right? I'm not supported. And I felt shy pushing him, but I know you're not, but we got to get the work done. Just help me do the work. I'll get the money. I'll get the money. I just need your assistance. Because we have a lot of things we have to do. We send people to study, then we bring them back and we can't pay them. What we expect. We send them to study, they go study, then when they get back, they can't support themselves or their families. Then they got to go get a job and we lose them. That's hustling backwards, as they say in the street. That's hustling backwards. You spend 10 years, 20 years or less in between studying, then you come back here and go work for Mr. Charlie because we can't support. It's hustling backwards. How are we ever going to build like that? It's impossible. It's hustling backwards. We got to get serious if we're going to do the job. We have to get serious. We have to get serious. We have to do our part. We should be shy that our leaders sacrificing their lives for us, literally, their families for us, their children for us, and then we say, thanks, Ak. Nah. How sustainable is that? It's not. You're going to lose your teachers. You're losing your teachers. You just don't know it. You have a lot of teachers. You're losing them because we don't support. We don't benefit from them solely because we don't support. And I can't be shy about this issue because it's essential for us to move forward. We need funding that's just for them to do their jobs. If we're serious. So some of us can't do a lot, but all of us can do something. All of us. There's no one who can't do nothing, even if you encourage someone else to donate because you can't. We got to start become a strong unit to get this job done. But it's for that. Now let me explain a waqf for you. That means when you do that, that money cannot be used for nothing else, only for that. That's why it has to be like that. It can't be used for anything else but what it's specified for. And we need to specify a teacher fund for just teaching the knowledge. Got to get serious. And those of us of big means, we got to do serious. We got to put it up. Fi sabilillah. But you're going to get the return because you done freed a teacher. Now those teachers are able to come on regularly. If I had the ability, I want to, if I ever got the money, I would have teachers teaching every day on different subjects. We would move way down because I would pay them. You do this, you do this. Here's a stipend. Even if I didn't do salary, I would do stipends. Every time you come, here's $100. Here's $50. And if I had you 7 days a week, at least I could give you a minimum of $350 a week. That is a poor job, but it beats a blank. It beats a blank. You're not going to be able to survive off that, but at least we start the process. We could get something done like that. Are y'all following me? Because this is a problem, right? This is a big problem for us, and we have to address it. And one of the things is each of us are addressing it separately, so we're splitting our resources and not getting nothing done. Because you only have a handful of followers, I only have a handful of followers, you have a few committed people, and we're splitting it all up instead of collectively bringing it together and making a unit where we can support each other. That's why we don't mix. That's one of the reasons you don't realize how many Sunni communities there are, or how many imams that are Ahl Sunnah, because we all divided and separated trying to survive. Everybody's in survival mode. Everybody's in survival mode. And we're hustling backwards. So I'm bringing it out clearly, and I'm going to be asking for your support regularly. Every time I give a class, I'm going to remind you, support this fund. Every time. So that fund is in a condition that I can hire teachers. I don't got to just ask you, can you help out? Nah, I can pay you. Come on, let's go teach. I need some commitment from you. But if I'm asking commitment from you, I gotta have a commitment from us too, right? You ask the imam to commit to do A, B, and C. You want the teacher to teach this, teach that. Where's your commitment? So that it facilitates for them to do it. Males and females. We got females out there that learn and they can't teach because they got to go find money. So they're teaching everywhere else except with us because others pay them and we don't. Females, they're teaching for everyone else, not us, because we can't afford to pay. And they have to survive. They got babies, they got kids. So we got to strike a balance. Maybe we cannot pay you $50,000 a year or $60,000, but we can show our appreciation by easing it for you. I got female teachers. I got plenty of female teachers. But they're working for others, not for our community because they need to get paid. They need to get paid. So they'll say, I can throw something whenever I can, Imam, but I can't do that regularly. I got to go do that. But if you can match, you don't even have to match it. If you can just help, I'll leave them in a minute and come with you. But you can't tell me to just cut off my nose to spite my face. I can't do that. I got babies. Can't do it. And I respect that. That's why you don't see a lot of teachers. I know a lot of African-American female learned people, but they got to work. They got to do what they got to do. So I want that fund, inshallah. And I'm asking you to donate. All you got to do is put waqf. You can put endowment. You don't have to say waqf if you don't want to spell it, right? Right? You could just put endowment. We only have one endowment. It's well known what it's for. Right? That's all you got to put. We only have one. So you can go to the regular, anywhere you put it, PayPal, regular donation, and just put waqf, and it'll go directly to that fund. I have an account for it and everything. I'm ready. I just need your support. Because I need to get these teachers together. Yeah, these are all crises. We can fix it. Trust me, it's easy. It's not as hard as you think. If everyone does a little, no one has to do a lot. But everybody got to participate, right? So please, let's do it. And we'll set up a complete page. We'll explain. We'll get that done. But we don't need to wait for that to start it, because right now I have the opportunity. With my help, with Sheikh Abdul Aziz, I can move. And if I'm moving around the country, I can get people motivated. I have that ability, inshallah. But I need your support to do it, right? I need to go. I just got a call. I had a call the other day. And Masjid in the person state, he's like, could you come teach? We want to learn. I got a center. I got everything you need. Could you come teach? I would love to send a teacher there. I can't do it. Not right now. I got other things. But believe me, if we don't fill that spot, the people of misguidance will, because they're supported. They will. They will plug that spot, because the nature of people, they're going to just look for whoever's helping them. So we have to be in a position when opportunities open, we can go ahead and fill them up. So inshallah, that is my my request of you. And I hope that you take it serious. And I know we're asking for you a lot, but we're doing a lot as well. We're not asking you for stuff that we're not doing. We're actually doing what we say. Right. The donations can go. All you got to do is put waqf so we can know that it's just waqf, so it goes to what we said it's going to go. That's all you got to put, endowment or waqf, whatever. And soon as that we see that note, one word, we'll move it to that thing. But we got to set that account up. But that doesn't stop us from doing the work, because we do it already, but we just do it on our own. So we got people who just support it, and we just move the money and do what we got to do. But I'll give you an example. All of the month of September, all of us, myself, Imam Fahim, Imam Naeem, are on the road, right? Almost all of September, every weekend. That's a sacrifice all around the country. And we're doing these things. So we need people to plug in while we're traveling, while others are traveling. We need people to plug in with teaching. The teaching can't stop, and it needs to increase. So, inshallah, barakallahu bikum. May Allah reward you all. Don't forget, tonight at 8 o'clock, Sheikh Walid al-Rifa'i will be coming with Al-Aqidah al-Sanusiyya. Inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.